Hey y'all, it's Dr. Shamanda. Welcome back to my channel where we talk about all things mental health, personal finance, and overall strategies to live your best life. Alright guys, if you're new here, I am a licensed mental health and addictions therapist based out of North Carolina. And I specialize in financial therapy, which is all about helping you heal and understand your relationship with money. But on this channel, I share my own journey towards building wealth, saving, investing, paying off debt, and all that good stuff. I also share some financial literacy. Like, I am very much considered, I would say, financial education here. Outside of being a therapist, I am also a university professor. And y'all, I'm back in my teaching mode this semester, so y'all gonna get more information from me, okay? Now, in my work as a professor, I train therapists. I develop and train therapists. On this channel, I'm just going to share more about this personal finance stuff and things to consider, which brings me to the topic of today's video, which are 10 things to consider about money before dating and marriage. Now, these are things that I said before, but if you're already married and if you're already dating, I think these things could definitely help you right now, right? So the sooner you learn this information, the better. Now, I'm not an expert or financial advisor or anything like that, but I do work with or have worked with clients in some capacity in mental health, behavioral health, addictions for almost 20 years now. So I've seen a lot, heard a lot, experienced a lot personally and professionally. So I just want you to think about these things, okay? The first thing I want us to mention or focus on is that our financial values matter. Right? It's not about how much someone earns, but more so, what do they believe about money? Are they a saver? Are they a spender? Are they more of a risk taker? Are they focused on building wealth? Like, what are their values around money? Do they like to give? Do they struggle to set boundaries around money? Like, you need to understand their values. Did I say boundaries or values? I don't know. You need to understand their values around money. Like, what do they believe about money? That is so important to know. And how you going to find it out? You're going to have to ask. You're right? But you also can just observe. You can be around people for a period of time and you can pick up really quickly how they feel about money. Right? Do they talk about it? Are they afraid to talk about it? Does it make them uncomfortable to talk about it? You can, if you're mindful and you're observant, you can figure those things out really quickly, to be honest. Well, maybe it's just me, I don't know. But number 2 is that debt shouldn't be a secret. Okay, now I know, especially in certain cultures, talking about money is still considered taboo. And obviously if you have some level of debt, it might feel uncomfortable, might feel even more like embarrassing or something. But it is so important early on, if you're dating somebody that you see potential in, or you definitely before you get married, or especially after you get married, if you waited that long, right? You need to discuss debt, right? Do you have student loans? Do you have credit cards? Are there any medical debt? Do you have any personal loans? Now, the goal is that you don't judge this person, but we just practice transparency and honesty, because technically if you marry this person, their debt becomes yours and vice versa. And I think we owe it to each other, if you love that person, you care about that person, to be honest and transparent. Like, this is what I'm coming with. Same way if you were a single parent and you had kids, right? Or you were a caregiver, or you had parents that were like elderly and sick and they're going to live with you, and so you need to let your partner know, hey, this is coming with me. Same thing with debt. Debt is no different. So if you love that person and you care about them and it's someone you want to marry or spend your life with, then debt shouldn't be a thing that would deter them. Now, it may make them pause and be like, nah, I'm good. But they at least deserve to make an informed decision. That's what I call it. An informed decision, meaning they have all of the information up front to make a decision based on all the evidence and information. When you hide those details, you're not being honest. Like, let's be real. You might say, well, this is my business. Okay, but it becomes their business if they do decide to marry you. I'm just putting it out here. It is what it is, okay? Anyway, Number 3 is that income matters less than our financial behavior. Um, I think some people are like, they kind of write certain professions off, like, oh, if you are X, Y, and Z, like you work this company or work this type of job, we're not compatible, or you're not good enough for me or something. But the reality is, people can work lower paying jobs than someone who makes $200,000 a year, but they might be financially savvy, more financially savvy than the other person that makes the most money. So we don't want to judge just based on income. It's about what do they do? How do they manage their money? Do they invest? Do they save? Do they pay off their debt? Are they debt free? It's not, listen, you'll be surprised. You think that people who earn more are better money managers, but that's not always the case. Most of the time, it's not the case at all, to be honest. So be mindful of that income, it matters less than how a person manages their money, okay, and their financial behaviors. Now, the fourth thing I want to say is that financial goals need to be aligned. Like, what are your goals? I think it's something to talk about early on in dating and in marriage, like probably before you get married. I'm just saying, I probably should call this things to consider while dating instead of marriage. But some people already got married and they haven't had these conversations yet. So again, something to look at. You want to discuss, do I want to be a homeowner or do I want to rent? I guess technically at that point, depending on where you guys are. But if you want to be a homeowner and then you're marrying somebody they have a job where they travel all the time and they want you to come with them, does that make sense to be a homeowner, or do you guys need to rent? Like, something to think about. How do they feel about investing? Are they scared to invest? Are they like really big into investing? Do they want children? Do you want children? Do you want more children? Like me, for example, that is a heavy question for me and anybody that I would date, because I have an 18 and 19-year-old, almost going on 19 and 20 soon, like before we know it. And I'm done. Like, I'm completely done. I don't have to start over. But if I met somebody, they might want some children. So that's a decision that I would have to make. Like, do I want to start over? Am I willing to do this? Is this something I really want? That's the decision I have to make up front before I meet somebody, because it can't be a pressure thing. So again, you want to ask yourself, do you want children? And if you meet somebody who wants children, great, right? If that's what you want. But if those two things differ, that's an issue, right? And I see it all the time. Entrepreneurship. Are you someone who wants to open up your own business, or do you want to stay in the 9-to-5 corporate America space? Or do you guys want to do a mix of that, right? How does your partner feel about entrepreneurship? There was a whole big debate not too long ago about, I don't want no man who work a 9-to-5. My man got to be a big boss. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was a whole thing for a lot of people. You need to know how that person feels about that. How are you feeling? You know what I'm saying? Are they waking up in the morning looking at you because you got to go get dressed and go to this office and kind of looking disgusted, like, ugh, I wish I had me a boss. You know what I'm saying? Like, you need to know these things. You guys need to be in alignment with that. And I'm just giving an example, so don't nobody come for me. I never said that, because personally, I don't really care, to be honest. Like, I don't really care. I don't, because I'm just thinking about me, and like, I know who I am and where I'm at and what I want to do. But if a man get up in the morning, get dressed, and put on a nice suit and all that, to me, that's just, I love it. You know what I'm saying? If you love it, I like it, baby. Did I say that right? I don't know. Anyway, this is not about me. You also need to be in alignment regarding retirement. Okay, so like, do you want to retire early, or are you somebody who wants to work forever, literally? And what does that look like? Do you guys want to retire and move out of the country? Do you want to retire and like move to like a rural area and just get some farmland and chill and raise your grandkids together? You really need to look at your financial goals and make sure that your partner's goals align with what you want and desire for your life as well. Spending habits matter, right? You need to know what their spending habits are. Like, what do they spend money on, and what do they prioritize? That is a big deal. Now, I ain't gonna hold you. That right there is something I will judge a man over, because I be looking. I ain't even gonna hold you. Like, you know what I'm saying? I be looking. Like, oh, that's what you... Okay. I just judge just a little bit. You know what I'm saying? They might judge me because I'm very frugal. Well, I have been very frugal. But I'm just like, oh, really? Because it just makes me... especially if you ain't got no savings. Like, see, stuff like that, I will judge you, because I'm thinking about the future. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, like... But you about to take this trip, but you ain't. just a little, okay? We're talking about somebody dating, like your potential partner. Everybody else, I don't care. Do what you want to do. Have fun. Enjoy life. But a partner, no, I'm going to judge just a little bit. But you need to know what their spending habits are, essentially. Number 6 is that you want to talk about money early. I've been saying this the whole time. Not on the first date. You ain't got to talk about it on the first date. But before y'all get engaged, before marriage, and before moving in. Essentially, those 3 areas, those 3 milestones, you need to be talking about it before those things. Now, again, there's somebody who's going to watch this video. They're already married. They're already engaged. You can still have a conversation. Now, what happens after that? Book a call with me. That's how. No, and I mean that sincerely, because it could definitely bring up some stuff. You may end up having to go to marriage therapy for it. And I'm being sincere when I say that, because these conversations can really trigger a lot, because you start to realize, like, wait, I didn't know this how you was. Like, this is not who I thought you were, and I didn't think this. You want kids? We didn't agree on that. Wait, you don't want to ever buy a home? What? So it can bring up a lot of stuff. So you probably may have to go to therapy. I'm just saying. Need to understand each other's money story, which means, of course, you need to understand your own money story first. Like, how are you going to tell somebody about your money story, or how, like, your beliefs in money even began, how you were raised with money, what was the situation around or circumstances around money in your home as a kid. You need to know that. How are you around about scarcity? Was there any abundance? Do you have, I don't know if you want to have, well, I guess technically you should disclose if you have an inheritance or something like that, but, like, are you a trust fund baby? Like, there are certain things that need to be discussed so that that person can understand you a little bit better, and that you can understand them better. And that's what the whole money story is about, because it shapes your financial behaviors. The other thing I want to say is that financial independence is actually healthy, even in money, right? Even in marriage, right? There can be a level of autonomy, transparency. There's nothing wrong with having your own account if you want, but obviously, like, again, transparent. Like, you shouldn't have a secret account, maybe, but that might be a thing. But there's some level of financial independence that's very healthy. Again, I do see clients on the other side of that where there's financial abuse, so you want to be mindful and protect yourself from that, and that's both sides. The last thing I want to say here probably is that consider a prenup. Y'all know how I feel. I did the whole video on that. Check that out, because prenups are all about protecting your assets, having clarity, knowing what the expectations are if things happen. Divorce happens every day, y'all. Let's just call it what it is. Getting a prenup does not mean that you're saying I want to divorce you in the future, or that it's going to happen. It just means that it could possibly happen, and if it does, this is what we're going to do. I just don't see, that's just my opinion, but at least discuss it and see where you both stand on that. Ultimately, at the end of the day, love doesn't decrease or get rid of or eliminate financial stress. So you have to know that, like, you might love this person, but if you guys own a line financially, then that's a big deal, okay? And we got to just confront these things up front and just address these things up front. Anyway, y'all, marriage, dating, these are very important decisions, specifically marriage, and we want to go into it with as much information as possible. We need to know ourselves, we need to know our partners, all that. We can't just get so caught up in the chemistry and the attraction that we forget. What's that saying? Romance without finance is a nuisance. Anyway, y'all, let me leave this here, okay? If you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, share, and I'll see you guys in the next one. All right, bye, y'all.